You probably think you're a pretty good person. You stick to the speed limit, mostly. You're nice to your neighbors. You pay your taxes. But what if I told you that one over-the-top romantic gesture could make you a criminal in Idaho? Or that just feeling a little down in the dumps in public is technically against the law in one of its major cities? Idaho, the gem state. Famous for potatoes, stunning mountains, and apparently a legal code that reads like it was written during a fever dream. Today, we're not just rattling off a list of weird laws you've seen in 100 other videos. No, we're going on an investigation. We're going to find out which of these bizarre rules are actually real, which are just myths, and which ones you might have already broken. Because it turns out in Idaho, the line between law-abiding citizen and criminal is shockingly thin. Now, before we get started, you have to ask, why? Why does a state have laws that make it illegal to frown or regulate the weight of a box of chocolates? Well, a lot of it boils down to two things: history and internet exaggeration. So, here's the claim you see all over the internet. In Idaho, it's illegal for a man to give his sweetheart a box of candy weighing more than 50 pounds. Some versions say it's illegal to give one less than 50 pounds. Others say over 50 pounds. Either way, it's bizarrely specific. My first thought is, who is enforcing this? Are there candy police patrolling on Valentine's Day with a giant scale? Drop the truffles, sir. That box is 52.4 pounds. You're coming with us. And who on earth is giving or receiving a 50-pound box of chocolate? That's not a gift. That's a potential medical emergency. That's enough chocolate to put a grizzly bear into a diabetic coma. So, I dug into it. I scoured the current Idaho statutes. I looked for any mention of candy, chocolate, gifts, or weight limits. What did I find? Absolutely nothing. There is no current law on the Idaho State Legislature's website that regulates the weight of a box of chocolates. This is a classic example of a legal myth. It's a phantom law that has been repeated on so many weird law websites that people just accept it as fact. While it's possible it was a real, hyper-local ordinance from a century ago that has since vanished, there's zero evidence it's an enforceable state law today. So, if you were planning a ridiculously grand romantic gesture in Boise, rest easy. You are not a criminal for buying too much chocolate, but you might be a criminal for this next one. Here's another one you've probably heard. In Idaho, it's illegal to fish from a camel's back. This one sounds completely bonkers. It paints a picture of some Gilded-Age tycoon trekking through the Sawtooth Mountains on his trusty camel, casting a line into the Salmon River. It's so specific and so absurd. It has to be fake, right? Wrong. Well, mostly wrong. The real law was actually much broader. A bill introduced in the Idaho legislature in 1917 made it unlawful to ride up or down a stream on the back of any animal while fishing. It didn't mention camels specifically. The point wasn't about the choice of animal. It was about protecting the environment. Idaho's streams and rivers have delicate spawning areas for fish like trout and salmon. And the whole idea was to prevent animals, whether it's a horse, a mule, or, yes, theoretically a camel, from trampling these sensitive ecosystems. So while the internet grabbed this and ran with the most ridiculous animal it could think of, the original law was very real. According to the Idaho Fish and Game Department, this law is no longer in effect, but it's a great example of a practical conservation effort disguised as a bizarre joke. Let's head over to the city of Pocatello, the official U.S. Smile capital. And why does it have this title? Because of a legendary city proclamation that made it illegal to frown. I am not making this up. It all started after the brutal winter of 1947 to 48, which left everyone in town understandably miserable. So, in an effort to boost morale, the mayor and city council passed a tongue-in-cheek ordinance in August 1948. It explicitly prohibited frowns, grimaces, scowls, threatening and lowering looks, and gloomy and depressed facial appearances. Now, was this a real, enforceable law? Not really. It was a symbolic gesture that was only intended to be in effect for a single week, and it was never officially added to the city code. The punishment was to go to a smilage station and put on a happy face. The ordinance was forgotten for decades until it was rediscovered in 1987 and turned into a brilliant marketing campaign. So, while you won't get arrested for having a bad day in Pocatello, you would have been in violation of a historic city proclamation that was passed to, well, make you smile. You can't talk about Idaho without talking about potatoes, and you better believe they take their potatoes seriously. So, seriously, in fact, that selling a bad spud can be a criminal offense. Idaho code is all business when it comes to its most famous export. It's illegal to sell potatoes labeled as Idaho Deluxe, or other high grades if they have rot, frost damage, or other serious blemishes. This isn't some forgotten old rule. This is a currently enforced statute designed to protect the state's billion-dollar agricultural brand. And the penalties are no joke. They can include fines and even jail time of up to 6 months. Think about that. You could face actual jail time for selling a bruised potato under the wrong label. The state has official grading standards, inspectors, and a whole system to ensure that when you buy an Idaho potato, you're getting the real deal. It's a fascinating look at how the law is used to protect a reputation. So, if you're a farmer or a grocer in Idaho, you better inspect your spuds. The potato police are very real, and they are watching. All right, let's get dark for a minute. Of all 50 states, only one felt the need to write an explicit law about cannibalism: Idaho. Idaho Code 18-5003 defines cannibalism as willfully ingesting the flesh or blood of a human being. It's a felony, and it can land you in prison for up to 14 years. So, case closed, it's illegal, right? Not so fast. The law includes a very specific and frankly terrifying exception. It states that cannibalism is an acceptable defense if it was done under extreme life-threatening conditions as the only apparent means of survival. This means Idaho is the one state that has legally acknowledged the stranded in the Andes scenario. While every other state would likely prosecute you for murder or desecration of a corpse, Idaho's law, passed in 1990, provides a potential legal shield if you had absolutely no other choice. A recent case in northern Idaho, where a man was charged with both murder and cannibalism, proves the state is absolutely willing to prosecute. This law is a chilling reminder that the legal code has to account for even the most horrifying possibilities of human behavior. Let's shift gears to another city-specific oddity. The story goes that if you're in Idaho Falls and you're celebrating your 89th birthday, you might have to give up your motorcycle. A widely circulated claim says an obscure city ordinance in Idaho Falls makes it illegal for anyone over the age of 88 to ride a motorcycle. Why 88? The origin is murky, but the rumor likely stems from outdated safety concerns. But just like the 50-pound box of chocolates, this one appears to be a total myth. Numerous sources repeat the claim, but as of 2025, there's no verifiable record of such a law in the Idaho Falls City Code. There are, of course, state laws about getting a motorcycle license, which require safety courses for younger riders. But there's no upper age limit. It's another legal fossil that isn't even a fossil. It's a ghost. So for the great-grandmothers of Idaho Falls who love the open road, you're not rebels. You're just riding your motorcycle. So after digging through Idaho's legal code, what's the verdict? Are you a criminal? Well, probably not. Most of these famous weird laws are either internet myths, like the chocolate box and the motorcycle age limit, or they're historical footnotes, like frowning in Pocatello. The ones that are real and enforced, like the potato grading laws, have very specific practical purposes. They're about protecting Idaho's economy and its brand. What this really shows is that a state's legal code is a living document, full of history, strange stories, and a few things that probably should have been deleted a long time ago. Now, I want to hear from you. I found a lot of these online, but many were just myths. What other weird Idaho laws have you heard about? Let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll investigate them in a future video. And if you enjoyed this trip down the legal rabbit hole, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more videos that expose the strange truths hiding all around us. Thanks for watching.